Welcome everyone to Read the Book First. Today, Isaac is here to help me talk about the 1986 children's classic, maybe classic, potentially, Redwall by Brian Jacques. Hi, Isaac.
Hello. No, absolutely my childhood classic. At
So
the very
a
least.
classic for us.
Yes.
Speaking of your childhood, tell me about your relationship with Redwall.
The series especially, I don't necessarily have like the closest bond in the world to the first book. I mean, I liked it as a kid, but the whole series was, go to the library once a month to get the one of the books I hadn't read. And obviously, as a kid who was born quite a while after Redwall released, there was quite a lot to go through. So there's always some other animals getting into some other problems and eating some other delicious foods and singing sea shanties. So no, I really love Redwall.
Yeah.
And it was a big part of my, probably through, I don't remember when I really stopped reading him so much, but it was huge during my elementary years.
Yeah. Essentially same with me. And obviously we have talked about this because I don't know if you know this, but I've been dating you, Isaac.
No.
Surprise. But yeah, so we've talked about this, but Redwall was a huge thing for me. And there's kind of two reasons for this. One was that I did see the show on PBS and was obsessed with it. And for whatever reason, it only played on Saturdays or Sundays where we were. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because it was on the Canadian version of PBS that we had, because Alaska. So I remember that being part of the inspiration, but also I was not allowed to read Harry Potter growing up. And so going to the library, the cool big chapter books that were on the top of the children's section bookshelves were Harry Potter and Redwall.
Yep.
And I was like, well, if I can't do Harry Potter, I'm going to get the other big books. Once somehow accidentally ordered on Amazon. This is back when Amazon was just for buying books. Because my mom would say, hey, put whatever books you want on the online cart, and then she would know what books to get me for my birthday.
Yeah.
And so I put all of the Redwall books that were out at that point.
Yeah.
Which was half of what honestly was out.
So $20.
No, probably 10.
Yeah,
which is
it's a lot.
A lot.
They're not small books,
and they're
for
huge
little
books,
elementary
exactly.
kid. Yeah.
But I put them all in the shopping cart, and I don't know if I bought them by pushing pay or if my mom just didn't empty out the cart, but they ended up at our house, and I was in trouble, but I also read them all.
Redwall, am I right?
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's kind of. I mean, I was allowed to read Harry Potter. I do. They're kind of tied together for me because I remember reading Harry Potter, the first few ones, when I was in second, third grade, and then kind of moving into Redwall. It was
it was about third, fourth grade when I was getting into them.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I ended up, really, really enjoying them. And I don't really have such a connection to the show, though. I think I've seen it once. I barely remember it. So
yeah.
The books, though, I remember reading a lot. Salamandra.
I don't think I read all of them by any means, but I did read a good chunk of them. Do you know how many books there are in total?
I don't. I would say, I'm going to guess 22.
Okay, they're not numbered to have to count. Okay, there's 22 proper Redwall books. There's some books lore books, the clans or the tribes of different species within the world, and some cookbooks and other just side books. But there's 22. The last one was published in 2011 and posthumously 3 months after he had passed.
I forgot he died. Now I'm sad again, but that makes sense. He was an old man.
He was 70 something when he died. But these books, just
for a certain kind of millennial kid, these are sacred texts.
I mean, Redwall was in 87, so yeah. So I guess I
think we're on the younger side.
We're on the younger side of millennials. You're right. Yeah. How dare I not be the center of the universe? A lot happens in this book. It's a thick book. It's over 400 pages.
Yeah.
I read the first third, and then I had to switch to audiobook to keep my interest fully in it. The audiobooks are great. Brian Jacques is one of the main narrators for almost all of the audiobooks, and then the other cast of characters are played by other voice actors, and some including his own kids and other people he knew. He was like, hey, come in and be part of this, because he had a radio show for over 10 plus years in Liverpool.
This is the British way.
Yes.
But with between all the Redwall stuff, between the Hitchhiker's Guide stuff, it's all go back 30 years and be a radio person, and then you can be
Books.
a famous author
Yeah.
afterwards for two people.
Yeah, so if you're an audiobook person, I recommend the audiobooks. A lot of them are on Spotify, but obviously library. A lot happens in this book, and I feel like we don't have to be crazy detailed, but we'll try to hit all the major things. Reading this book reminded me that I am not a like war fantasy person, because whenever it was like the war battle scenes in this book, I was like, come on, let's get to the point. Let's solve mysteries. I don't care about battles. But that's like, it's not that this book has like a war book.
Yeah.
But like for a book for 10 to 12-year-olds, there's a lot of battle stuff.
There is surprisingly like, it's not like crazy graphic or anything, but it's for a children's book. There are some surprisingly graphic death scenes,
and like, and it's not like, and
people
you care about die.
Yeah, it's not just like, which is kind of, I mean, important.
It's important for kids to know, like, people die, right?
Yeah,
animals die. But yeah,
you're instead of going to the farm up, say, oh, Clooney got him.
Speaking of Clooney. Another Janessa Redwall lore. At one point, I had a pet rat named Clooney.
It's good lore.
And the other rat that I had at the same time, their sisters, was named Templeton from that's the rat in the Charlotte's Web.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had two bookish pet rats names.
You can really connect the dots back and for some things.
I've always been this way.
I mean, I think, just step back real quick though, I think the whole charm of the book though is the whole just like this kind of medieval setting, but they're all these cute little animals that have just great little personalities, and creates a little whole world with it. There's like a little map in there, like it's a Lord of the Rings or other high fantasy book, and it's just a great I don't know, it's not necessarily reinventing the wheel, but it's also like it would stand on its own. I think even if there weren't the cute little critters, it's that those just really push them over that really cements it as it's.
The critters really give it for me, because it's not just mice though. Like most of our main characters are mice. I mean, there's 22 freaking books, right?
Yep.
Like this world is deep. This is the first book. There are some like plot holes that he does change later on the series, like some weird things, but like most of the stuff, like you can tell it's well thought out. Like each type of animal has a different kind of personality trait that they add to it. Some of it's very on the nose, but it's not like every single of those animals is the same. So Redwall follows our main guy, Matthias.
Yeah.
He is a orphan mouse that lives at Redwall Abbey, hence the name Redwall, which is the main setting of this place. It's in the forest Mossflower.
Mossflower Wood.
Matthias is kind of just like a little guy. He's trying to, like, he's going to join the order as his goal, right? Which is like kind of like
their whole that's a monk.
Monks.
So the Abbey's like this very like, it's not explicitly, it's not, there's not like, hey, there's Christianity in this book, but it's very like
there's
this is
monks and they wear habits.
No, it's a very like, this is, I'm assuming, Catholic, based on like Catholicism type stuff. But so he wants to be, and this restless little mouse wants to be a brother one day, but then
like the first, like he's described as being a comical little figure,
or like tripping over his shoes.
His shoes are literally too big for him. Like Matthias at the beginning is just like, he just wants to be like the other cool guys, and he, like, of all else, he wants to be like this mythical like figure they have in their history at the Abbey called Martin the Warrior.
Oh yeah,
which has his own book and his own series season of the Redwall show. Martin the Warrior was my favorite book of the ones I read.
I remember liking that one a lot. Yeah.
So we kind of meet a cast of characters. Like we have other mice. Like we have the other brothers, right? There's Methuselah. There's brother Alf.
Alf isn't a mouse.
It's not a mouse. He's a
hedgehog.
No.
Isn't he? Oh, Spike. Brother Spike. That's some real.
Spike Ambrose is the hedgehog.
Ambrose is great, but calling a hedgehog Spike is some real J.K. Rowling naming, honestly.
Methuselah, and then there's the other brother, the one that's in charge.
Mortimer. Sorry, Abbott Mortimer.
Mortimer, yeah, because all the mice have M names. All the important mice have M names.
Yeah, all the male mice.
All the male mice. A pleasant surprise of this is how many like female characters there are in this.
Especially because it is set in like male-dominated Catholic order, Catholic-inspired order for the mice, but then
like we have Constance the Badger. We love Constance.
I mean, yeah.
I loved Constance so much as a kid, the character, that when I got my new bike when I was like in 3rd or 4th grade, I named the bike Constance.
Yeah.
Before I knew that word meant.
Yeah.
I was like, it's the Badger. But yeah.
It is the Badger. No, it's still the Badger to me.
Badger. She's my favorite.
She holds
character.
up. She's really good.
Yeah. We have Winifred the Otter.
Yeah.
Which is fun. And we meet other characters as we go, but those are the ones that we meet in the first few chapters.
Yeah. Cornflower is really
Cornflower, yes, sorry. Cornflower, which is her parents help with the cooking, and Matthias has a crush on Cornflower.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Which is important for plot reasons later. But yeah, so that's how the book kind of starts. It's like, it's homey, they're at Redwall, like Matthias has these big goals, and they're just vibing. And then chapter 2, it's like Clooney the Scourge is on the way. And Clooney is evil.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad guy. He has one eye is scratched out, so he only has one working eye. His tail has a really cool like knife sword attached to it.
It's a poison barb. Yeah, knife sword.
I don't know details. Yeah. Whatever. He has a horde of rats, weasels, and other nefarious vermin.
Yeah. I'll say this is my one complaint of Redwall is like the like bioessentialist bits, but it's like by species where it's like there's not too many like, oh, I'm a good rat though. It's like, nope, the rats are bad, the mice are good.
But later on in the series there are some characters within the like designated vermin / evil quote evil stereotyped types of animals that are heroic and have their own like hero focused story. So like it's not like it's not the best, but also these are books for 10-year-olds.
It's not that bad.
It's not horrific, but it's just like we get it.
Yeah,
the rat's a rat, But they are headed towards Redwall and to an old abandoned church, right?
Yeah. So
there's an old church, which means like we're back to this question: like, does God exist in Redwall?
And is it a mouse? I think the fun thing, like I said, is that there's like the map.
Yes.
For the world, but usually like if you look at like a Lord of the Rings, it's like the map of the entire realms, right? It's like this whole massive area, and like the other books have other maps, so it's not like for everything, but it's like this is the world map, and it's like here's the church, here's Redwall, here's the woods.
Yeah, here are the places they go in the book, and no other information.
Yeah, and it's a very like zoomed in Google Street View of the.
But they have a horse-drawn cart here.
Yep. So Isaac's car corner. Carts came way before cars, and they've really been improved upon. And now they can go way faster.
If you've listened to any other Isaac guest episode, you'll get that little bit.
Isaac's cart corner.
If you don't know what Isaac's car corner is, go listen to those episodes. The fact that these mice have horses, and the horses do not talk, and they do not have bodily autonomy.
Yep.
This only happens in this book and never happens again in the other books because he realized every other animal in this book can speak, is a self-realized autonomous animal, like free will, etc.
Yeah.
So, but
it's very goofy walking Pluto.
Yes, it is. It exactly is Goofy walking Pluto, but they change it in the later books, but it does get mentioned here at the very beginning. And every time I read that part, I'm like, this rat has a horse? And I'm like, just the scale doesn't make sense.
No, it's a whole thing. Yeah, that's actually very early. Like I think one of the rats like falls off and dies because the horse wrecks the cart, and it's like, okay, this is the vibe.
But anyways, they are going towards Redwall Abbey because Clooney the Scourge wants to take over and just be a conqueror. He just wants power.
Yep.
Yeah. He's essentially like a pirate. He's also like from the shipping world, they say. So like he's not from this area.
Yep.
So he's very pirate coded.
It's bilge rat.
What?
Bilge rat. Like on the ship, like in the bilges of the ship. Like
I don't know what a bilge is.
It's part of a ship. That's all I got. It's like, where it gets wet. It's underneath.
Nice. The mice at Redwall are hanging out. They're having a big feast. Every time there's food mentioned.
This man, R.I.P. Brian Jacques, you'd have loved anime for all like the food.
Yeah.
In this, because it's such a like it's almost graphic, the level he describes
It's
this
like
food.
that scene in House Moving Castle where they're making eggs, that breakfast that they make in House Moving Castle.
Yeah.
Sophie's first day. That is the like visual, I imagine, almost of the food there, like that level.
That was something I hadn't read any Redwall in like 15 years at least. And I still remember it. I'm like, yeah, they care. It's a lot of food and it's a lot of singing. And there actually weren't as many songs.
There wasn't that many songs.
They're kind of riddles and poems, but there weren't songs.
Yeah.
So
they're having a big, party, but then they did figure out that the church mouse family didn't show up for the feast. The church mouse family living in the old church.
Yeah.
So again, is there a god in Redwall? Who are they?
Just a mouse like one of us.
Cornflower, Matthias. So Cornflower wants to go home. Her family lived near the church, so she doesn't live in Redwall Abbey proper.
Yeah.
Matthias volunteers to make sure she gets home safely because he's in love with her. And Constant joins them because Constant's like, this little guy can't go out in the woods by himself at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. They go out there and then they see the horde of rats with the horse cart that has been knocked over or whatever.
Oh, they see it before. It's worth a crash, right? They see it go like flying by.
Yeah, they see it go. Yeah, they get out of the way at last seconds. Yeah. But they see the horde going by. And so they are able to go and warn Redwall about Clooney and the horde of rats. Yeah, this is where we get a lot of like the old Methuselah talking to Matthias and being like, ooh, you're gonna be great one day, Sonny. And
but not as a chill brother. You're too much. Yeah.
He's like, you have too much fire in you. Because the guy, the abbot who's in charge, Mortimer, is very like pacifist. He's like,
I mean, the whole order is it's pretty. That's the whole. They're kind of the like, oh, if you say you're a Redwall mouse, you should get safe passage throughout the land because everyone knows that people take care of of their people if they end up at Redwall.
Yeah. And like the chapters go back and forth between the mice and Clooney. And at some point during this, before Clooney and them have any interaction, Clooney has a dream where he's awoken by a weird, mysterious figure. And this comes up a few times, but I think that's a really fun way of adding some like intrigue to Clooney besides just being big bad.
Big bad, but big smart. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, he's a rat.
He's a rat. Yeah. I think also during this, they're like saving the church mouse family, or they try to. Doesn't one of them die? No. There's there's a lot of like mini rescues.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a mini rescue.
I think they literally have to save two different sets of church. Like, there's the door mice.
There's the door mice and the church mouse.
There's a lot of mice.
It's like the hobbits. So eventually, Clooney comes up to Redwall and is like, "Hey, I'm gonna be King Clooney. Tell your abbot to talk to me, or y'all, I need to talk to your abbot or whatever."
Yeah.
They end up against Constance's wishes. Constance is always like, "Guys, this is dumb," and then mice are like, "It's fine, Constance," and Constance is like, "All right, but y'all doing dumb stuff. What are you guys doing?"
Yep.
But they let Clooney and one of his many rat captains, which are always changing because they're always dying and they're always killing each other, and they have funny names.
Yeah.
And they're like there's the comedic relief, but also just like dumb guys. Yeah. Anyways, they allow those two to come in, and the whole time Clooney's like, "I'm gonna take over Redwall, and I'm gonna be a king, and the whole forest is gonna be mine." And the abbot is like, "Hey, we'll give you guys food and medicine and send you on your way." And then Clooney's like, "You have a day to surrender,
or you're all gonna,
you're gonna die." Yeah. And Constance gets pissed off and flips a table, and
a very big,
huge table.
Yeah, because she's a big. The scale thing. Speaking, I mean, she's not a horse, but like badgers are like huge compared to a rat.
Yeah, absolutely. And chases the rats out of the Redwall.
Yeah.
Then we find out this is where we meet Ambrose Spike for the first time. He comes back from a scout because the hedgehog is a scout because he has the spikes to protect himself.
Oh yeah, but he's all beat up, right?
Yeah, he's all beat up from a scouting trip. And we find out that the Vole family was captured by the rats. Yes, but there's, and again, lots of little tiny mini rescues.
Yes,
there's lots of this character. The cast list is huge. They all have very similar names.
They're pretty similar, different kinds of animals.
Oh yeah, in the Abbey, they have these like old tapestries, and one has the Martin the Warrior on there because he was part of the order, but he was significant because he, at the creation of Redwall and the order itself, essentially, at this point is what we know about him. He like protected, like, so he was maybe not violent, but like more engaged than,
he's a warrior monk, basically. It's a very like, that's the...
But so Matthias is sitting there and he's like, I want to be like him when I grow up.
Yeah.
And Matthias literally is like, interesting. You kind of have the same look as him.
Yeah.
Weird. And then Cornflower comes up to Matthias and says, you have the sign of greatness upon you.
You have the makings of greatness in you.
Treasure Planet. So good. Go listen to the very first episode of this podcast to find out my thoughts on Treasure Planet. Actually, it's the second episode, but still. Anyways, Clooney had saw this tapestry. This is a huge thing for Clooney. He saw this tapestry and he's like, I need to get their sign of... Well, it's partially, he's like, I want to get that Martin the Warrior signal so like that they're weakened and not have as much hope. Yeah. But also Clooney's like obsessed with it as they're getting chased out. So much so that his like captains are like, what's going on with you? Clooney gets Shadow, who may be a rat or maybe a weasel or maybe both, we're not really sure, to go in at night and steal the tapestry of Martin the Warrior. This is happening as Redwall is starting to like fortify the Abbey. Matthias gets awoken by someone saying, I need you, and suddenly just knows that something's happening with the tapestry. So like Matthias has this like weird like sixth sense situation going on that mimics Clooney's weird dreams, which I think is fun. Like obviously as adults we're like, it's obvious, but you know, for kids it's like, oh, it's the same weird mystical being. So again, is there a god in Redwall? So Matthias sees Shadow taking the tapestry and that he's able to escape with the tapestry, unfortunately. And so Matthias goes into the Mossflower Woods to try and like chase him down. And this is where he like wants to go get the tapestry. Yeah. And like also maybe the Voles. Right? He's just like, I want to have action. And this is where he runs into our boy. Basil. Basil Staghare, who is a rabbit who is like ex-military camouflage expert. Yeah.
Very prim, proper British Army kind of hair. Very not a rabbit. He is a hare because hares are crazy looking. Yes. And are a little more nutty than a...
He's like when Americans want to mimic British guys. Yeah. He's that kind of vibe. He like says pip pip.
Pip pip. Yeah, he's very posh.
And he talks about teas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so with the help of Basil, Matthias and Basil are able to get into camp and rescue the Vole family. But then Clooney starts one of their initial attacks. But as this happens, one of the many rat captains who have somehow got lost in the woods hears something in the background, and he hears someone go Asmodeus, and we don't know what happens. But then at the end of this book one of this book, we have Clooney and some of his rat buds in a tree trying to like, while the main force of the army is battling the walls, he's starting to sneak in via a tree branch. Yeah.
Battling the walls is really funny. But yes, it's true.
They're trying to battle the walls. Literally.
Yeah. With the door, but yeah.
Anyways, that is the end of book one. Then we get into book two, which is the book one, by the way, was called The Wall.
The Wall.
Book two is called The Quest.
So there's also this whole thing with in book one of like these mostly peaceful people, and with a couple like Constance and Basil are like explicitly not they are experienced in fighting and everything. In the otters too. But there's a lot of this like, okay, we're gonna get our ragtag bunch of defenders together and stop the trained rat army. It's kind of like a vibe.
Yeah. So Matthias is still out in Mossflower. He hasn't returned. Basil has been able to take the voles back. But he gets woken up by a little baby squirrel who doesn't talk, but wakes him up. And then we get flashback. The abbot ends up seeing Clooney in the tree, and Constance kicks the plank and almost kills Clooney at this point when he falls, but not quite. Matthias is able to find Redwall via the help of this baby squirrel who is called Silent Sam because he doesn't talk.
He sucks on his little paw.
Yeah, he's this little baby. Baby squirrel. Yeah. And so we have a bunch of people, like we have a bunch of like Redwall planning attacks. A lot of just like talking about what they want to do. And it's the talking about what they want to do and not doing what they want to do that gets a little bit tiring for me. And this is when, again, I'm in my brain, I'm like, this kind of fantasy, specifically tactical war stuff, is not for Janessa. And it's barely that. I understand.
Gonna say it's pretty, It's
I understand it's barely that because again, it's for 10-year-olds.
It's usually like, and we're gonna look like we're doing A, and then we're gonna do B, and then they fail, and it's kind of like the repeat.
As Clooney's recovering from his fall, he calls old Sela, who was a fox and who was known to like literally play both sides. Which again,
it's the Always Sunny meme of I play both sides, so I always come out on top.
Yeah. So old Sela and her son Chicken Hound are hanging out with the rats, and, quote, healing him, but they're also trying to find like information so that they can make money and like play both sides. While that's going on, Methuselah shows Matthias some writing on the wall. This part is the fun. This like whole section.
Okay. See, this is where we're different.
You don't like the quest?
The quest, it's fine.
Okay, my thing was this. I understand why he's like every other chapter, it's going back and forth. I wish the chapters were longer and they got more done within them. You know what I mean? That's like the way the book is formatted issue.
I think the thing that, so just jumping the gun a little bit, but, and once again, it is written for kids, but I am, that is, being Matthias. I'm like, how do you know it's this mouse's name? There's a god in Redwall. Ghost in the Shell. It's Martin the Warrior.
Yeah, so on the wall, there's this big whole poem. I'll read the first one. I'm not going to read each of them, but the first one is worth it.
Poem, you're worth it.
On the wall where the tapestry was,
he never had it all. Sorry.
It says, "Who says that I am dead knows not at all. I am, that is, two mice within Redwall. The warrior sleeps, twixt hall and cavern hole. I am, that is. Take on my mighty role. Look for the sword in the moonlight streaming forth. At night, when day's first hour reflects the north. From over the threshold, seek you and you will see. I am, that is, my sword will wield for me." So yes, I am, that is, Matthias. Yeah, so essentially Matthias is literally the chosen one.
Yep. He's what did you call him earlier? Messiah.
Messiah, yeah. Matthias the Messiah. But
or something, yeah.
So Methuselah, who's the old abbot or old brother, and Matthias, all these M names.
They go on they have a whole
thing. But they have a whole like treasure hunt thing, which is fun. Like at first they read that, then they go into the stairs and they find a secret passageway, and they go into the crypt where Martin the Warrior was buried. They find the shield. And then no sword and no sheath. And then they have to go up on top of the wall. And this part is fun. Like they have to like, Constance is like, y'all, that's the moon, right? And it's she helps them out. But they like put the shield like into it, and like they look, and it's the weather vane. And then they have to go after the weather vane.
Like I don't dislike this. I think it's just too long for me.
I think it is a little long. I agree. I think it would be better if it wasn't every other chapter going from the like Sela Fox situation, because that's also interesting. Yeah, it's this part is the most interesting to me. It's like the back and forth, and
I think for me, and this is once again jumping the gun a little bit. I think there's two times where it's a lot, or like there's 2 whole mini story arcs that are a lot of Matthias trying to find the rest of his gear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they needed one of them to be long and one of them to be a little shorter. But like, once again,
I agree.
I love this book. Like, it's very fun, but it's a little like, if I was nitpicking some decisions, that would be my...
Yeah. Well, while this treasure hunt is happening, Clooney is like, I don't trust this fox, so I'm gonna kind of bait her, which is so fun. So he puts like, he hides false information under his pillow that they're gonna go from battle one side of Redwall or something.
Yeah.
And she takes that and she is like, oh, I need more herbs. I'm going to send my son into the woods to get these specific herbs to heal Clooney. And really what she gives him is a note for the abbot being like, meet old Sela here with money. I have information.
Yeah.
And then he goes and is like, Constance, I need to talk to the abbot. And Constance is like, you're not going to talk to no one.
Yeah.
Like, I love Constance.
Yeah.
And so eventually she gets the message though. And instead of the abbot meeting him out there, Constance meets him out there, so nothing terrible happens from that interaction. But essentially Clooney and them find out that they were like backstabbing them, and they end up like,
they try and kill,
they try and
kill
her.
both of them, and then throw him in the ditch, and then Chicken Hound doesn't die.
Chicken Hound leaves his mom dead and goes to Redwall, and they end up letting him come in. Yeah, because they're like, well, we'll
take care of you.
We'll take care of you. Yeah. Then back with Matthias trying to find the sword of Martin the Warrior, they send Jess, who is Silent Sam's mom.
Jess is also great character.
Jess is a great character. Again, like it's cool. Like, not only are there a different amount of female characters, is that like they all have different roles.
And her husband is kind of like a very, very minor side character, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, okay, he's just there, but like, Jess is doing something.
Yeah. So she goes up to the weather vane, and they're hoping that's where the sword was, and it does look like it once was there. But as she's up there, a bunch of sparrows attack her, and then we get introduced to the new like realm within this world, which is the sparrow like kingdom.
It's just up high. It's just higher.
It's just higher, in the abbey. But there's like a little mini attack on Jess, but they end up capturing one of the sparrows, and it's a young girl sparrow named Warbeak, who is the niece to King Bull Sparrow. Yeah. And I recommend listening to the audiobooks for the sparrow chapters, because the sparrows speak a different language. They have a sparrow language is what it's referred to. And it's kind of, it's like shortened English. Yeah. But with less words.
It's like readable, but it's like
it's readable, but like
it's more fun.
The audiobook is in different voices and everything. But Matthias ends up befriending Warbeak, kind of at first.
At first, it's
like, you're gonna do what I say, or else I'm gonna hurt you, kind of vibe.
There's a lot of but also Warbeak's like, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, like the sparrows are contentious people, which is accurate.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. Please tell me information about sparrows.
So it depends. So it actually. So like the sparrows I work with are more solitary, and they're just like
So these are not song sparrows.
No,
they're also British.
They're British, so they're probably house sparrows, which are more communal. So but they will, beat up other things they don't like, and they're not like super nice to each other. But they're more communal. Which is, they have a whole roost, right? They're like hanging out up there. But I think they captured the spirit of sparrows fairly well. I think they made them a little too dumb, but not like they're not that smart. So it's okay.
Matthias ends up convincing Warbeak to lead him up to the sparrows, so that he can like figure out if they have the sword, because who would take the sword from the top of Redwall? The bird.
It's very like Tomb Raider, getting like moving through there's a lot of like, someone should have, the adults in charge were very okay with like these people like little mice making like daring feats of like, oh, if you fall off this ledge, you're just dead.
Yeah.
Like there was no backup. There was just not a lot of good supervision here. Really, children almost died a lot in the
book.
In the
Is
book.
that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
I mean, Matthias is. I would say he's a late teenage mouse here.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, every day is like
it's a lot.
a month and a mouse.
Yeah. So Matthias ends up going up to the Sparrow Kingdom, and immediately he becomes a prisoner. But we find out through Warbeak's mom that King Bullsparrow has lost the sword, and he's kind of like losing his mind a little bit.
Oh,
but also he like, if the rest of the flock, is that the word?
Yeah.
If the rest of the flock finds out he lost the sword, they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
And he's gonna lose power. So like he's like kind of like almost a mad king of sorts here.
Yeah.
But Warbeak is next in line, and so the Warbeak's mom has been like trying to appease the king so that to protect Warbeak. But Redwall, with help from various birds, Matthias ends up being able to sneak into the king's room and finds there's a couch chair that sword and the sheath is in. And so he is able to get the sheath, but there's no sword, and we find out that he lost it to a snake.
This is where I'm like, this was a long time. This is a lot of pages. It's a lot of being in the roost.
Yes.
So I think it's a flock of birds, but they roost in that's where they hang out. Yes. So yeah, I mean, birds, hooray, it's cool, but then it's like
it's the bird part with the long treasure hunt before is
and
too
after,
long.
Yeah.
I feel like I like the treasure hunt because we already at that point know Methuselah as a character, whereas the birds are all new characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Scoundrel chicken hound steals a bunch of food and goods from the abbey, and as he's escaping, Methuselah's in the middle of the door doing something, like not even like at first like protecting it. He's just like there, and he gets knocked out and gets killed by Chicken Hound right as Matthias is escaping the sparrows. So Matthias doesn't even get a chance to say goodbye to his his bud, his mentor. It's really sad.
It is sad.
It's really sad.
Life is fleeting, especially when you're a mouse.
Yeah. As Matthias is like recovering from his grand escape where he
fell
almost
off,
dies.
He falls off the roof.
Yeah.
With King Bull Sparrow, and then
yes.
he hits the water, right?
Yeah,
and
the
then
Sparrow does.
Sparrow, no, doesn't Matthias hit the water? And then the
Sparrow drowns.
Okay, I guess they both hit the water.
Yeah.
But then Matthias is like the right side up, so it doesn't die.
Yeah. So as he's recovering, he gets visited by it's very much like the ending of that one Star Wars movie. He gets visited by first the ghost of Methuselah, being like, I'm not here to help you anymore. Good luck. It's like, what? And then he gets visited by the ghost spirit of Martin that's set to warn him of Asmodeus.
Asmodeus.
Every time I see Asmodeus, I always think of that. Question. Matthias asks Basil about Asmodeus, and we find out Asmodeus is an adder.
Yes.
Tell me about adders.
That's a good question. So it's not something we really refer to. There is a snake called like a death adder. Almost positive.
Yes, because that's in Planet Zoo.
Yeah, so adders, I'm pretty sure, are vipers, which are venomous snakes that can like sense heat.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're a little woodland creature, they're no good at all. But I'm not sure if they're referring to like a specific species of snake here, or just kind of like it could fall under like a wider range of stuff.
I was curious because they just say adder.
Yeah, because I don't think death adders are in Europe. I think
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, but that's the end. Oh, and Basil says that,
and then Chicken Hound gets got
by the adder.
Yep. But no one else knows that. They never find that out.
I know.
So it's kind of like they're like, oh, he got away and everything, which you're like, well, he didn't.
Yeah. Basil tells Matthias that he needs to go and talk to Captain Snow, who is an owl, and give him this gift, who's an old war buddy of his. So here we go again. Matthias is back in the Mossflower on another mini adventure. He runs into the Guasim.
Oh my god!
The Guerrilla Union of Shrews in Mossflower. So a bunch of shrews who are just like chaos.
They're very clearly like a communist group of like a communist paramilitary group, really.
Yeah.
Which I have a lot of interesting thoughts because like it seems like on Brian Jacques' politics, because my reading of it is he was like knew enough people in leftist spaces or whatever to like accurately make fun of them, while also making them like good characters.
Yeah.
And ultimately like a good force. But yeah, sorry, they're very funny.
They're very funny, but the main one we interact with is Log, who is in a line of Log. They're all called like that's a title they get.
Yeah.
And in other books, we meet many different shrews named Log of either Log's ancestors or predecessors.
Yeah. Yeah, ancestors or post-cessor. No, I forget what that'd be called. Yeah, and it's fun. There's just a lot of like every time they make a decision, they have to do a vote.
Yep.
And they're always ready to go, ready to rumble.
They're always like, "What are we doing? Okay, vote. Make another vote."
I will say also, on a side note, shrews were one of the reasons I had to go to open lab in undergrad, because I had to be able to identify different shrew species by their skulls, and it's hard under a microscope. Yeah, so you had to look at like different ways, like the red staining on their teeth were, and like the shape of it. Was my I haven't done this since 2015, so oh my god, almost a decade ago. My knowledge is probably a little out of date now, but they left their mark in my psyche a little bit. So
Log and some of the other shrews join Matthias as he goes to talk to the owl, but who apparently is in a barn.
Yes.
Right, but once they get in there, there's no owl, and instead there is a big orange cat.
We love the big orange cat.
We love the big orange cat. As people who own a big orange cat.
This one is much smarter.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Saf.
Rude. But this cat is named Squire Julian Gingerbeer. And he talks about how there used to be like, he was a long part of nobility here.
Yeah. I think it fits the like cats are kind of stuck up and full of themselves. I think that's just the whole
that's
vibe.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. But Matthias is like, hey, Captain Snow used to live in here. I need to talk to him. And the orange cat was like, I hate him. We had an argument. I kicked him out.
Yeah.
And so Matthias is like, okay, hey, if if you help me, I promise I'll get an apology. Like Matthias is sitting here with all these big guys and being like, guys, we can figure this out. Just help me.
And like the shrews are like terrified of the cat and the owl because like they get eaten by them. So and then Matthias is just like wheeling and dealing with all these different groups.
Yeah. And the cat doesn't even want to eat the
which
shrews.
Is really funny. The cat's like, I've given up on. He's basically like, I've given up shrew, right?
Yeah.
Or something silly.
He's like, I eat fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very like California, like, SoCal, like, I only eat this diet.
I'm California sober, which means no alcohol, just weed.
Yeah. No shrews, just fish.
Yep. And so the cat takes him to go visit the owl, and
they have a sass off.
They have a sass off, absolutely. And Matthias is like, hey, here's this token. He's like, where did you get it? He's like, Basil?
Yeah.
Ring a bell?
They kind of have two old queens energy.
Absolutely.
It's kind of, it's Birdcage.
I've still not seen it. Every time.
Oh my God.
Isaac, every time you bring this up.
I thought we've seen this multiple times.
No.
I swear we've seen it.
No.
Pierce the Toast? Okay, sorry. I'm just disappointed. Okay, so stepping back from my disappointment. The cat and the owl say hello.
Yeah, Matthias is like, here's this token. Please help me.
Did you say here's this token? Because that's really funny because it's from Basil.
I did not mean to, but that is funny. So Captain Snow the Owl is like, okay, I'll help you. But then Matthias makes a deal. It's like, if you show me, or if you help me find Asmodeus and I survive and get the sword, you give me back that token back, and you have to give an apology to Gingerbeer.
And he's like, well, you're gonna die, so like, okay, go, well, sure, whatever you say, bud. Mm-hmm. He's like, I got my medal back, so I'm happy.
Yeah. While this is all happening, Clooney and the hordes are just battling with Redwall.
Yeah, that's just
like keep that in the background.
They're just they're pushing that hard, and this is the whole like we're gonna tunnel under.
Yes, the secret plan is that they're tunneling under the wall.
Would you say it's a secret tunnel?
Secret tunnel.
Less good vibes, though.
Way less good vibes. They're digging a tunnel. There's like a fake Clooney who dies, and they almost think that they got him.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
they
they
realize
build
like there's a lot of like stuff going on.
There's some fun little bits though. Like that's actually it's like this bit where, once again, our girl Constance, and was it the Otters or somebody else? She was working with them to create this like giant bow, basically a ballista, on top of the walls, and then while Clooney was still sick, right? This other guy's like so full of himself that he
puts on Clooney's
armor
outfits.
and walks out and gets hit by like a ballista shaft and gets just obliterated.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So like
very clever. Yeah.
all this stuff's going on. We find out that the snake's lair is in the quarry, which is the only other spot on the map that has not been touched
Explored.
upon yet, which is like, oh, it's in that one section. And so Matthias and the shrews are like going throughout the lair, and it's very much gives Chamber of Secret vibes where they're running through it.
Yep.
And it's Asmodeus is talking, like he repeats his name, but he like talks like a snake classically does with lots of S's.
Not Ka vibes though. Much more intimidating. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's this whole cute little, or like very heartfelt little scene before all that where like he's like that he wants the help of the shrews. The shrews can't decide. He leaves and is annoyed at the shrews, and the shrews all show up like, no, we're here to help you out, and it's very like sweet. And there's a squad of them that go.
Yeah.
And then they're like
They're
staking out and doing
going
all
through the
this.
tunnels.
Yeah.
Asmodeus ends up tracking them down. They can't look Asmodeus in the eyes or else they'll get like hypnotized or something.
Is that like, what is that? Is that a British thing?
With snakes?
Yeah, because like that's literally the Chamber of Secrets thing. That like you'll get turned to.
You're the one that owns a snake and is a biologist.
I've never been hypnotized by my snake.
Me neither.
But I'm not. I'm only a quarter British, so maybe it doesn't work.
Maybe you have to be 100% British.
Yeah.
Matthias is able to get the sword, and his eyes are closed, and he hears Martin's voice saying, like, swing now or now, and he ends up chopping off the head of Asmodeus.
Yes.
Which is so like hardcore and cool, but also can you imagine the size difference?
Yeah.
I don't know how big adders are. I'm thinking of like a decent sized snake.
Yeah.
Like a chunky guy.
Yeah.
Bigger than bigger than Wilbur.
Bigger than our hognose. Yes.
Yeah. And so
think like the
impressive.
like a rat snake that you've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they eat mice. Like that's yeah.
Anyways, so Matthias has a sword. They head back towards Redwall. As they're like heading back, Matthias is like, "Hey, shrews, will you help us?" And they're all like, "Yeah, bro, we'll help you."
The boys are back in town. Yeah, it's very
very much. And while this is happening, the rats are almost done with their tunnel.
Yeah.
But at the last second, the moles.
The moles have been. It's not the last second. They've known this is happening because they've picked it. Which the moles are so cute. They have a whole little.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah, we got.
They're very northern British accents.
They've kept track. Like they've been monitoring for.
They've been monitoring the situation. They've been doing other stuff too. But like
who's helping Methuselah and Matthias open whatever they want to open, and then making sure the rats don't get in,
and like making sure everything's structurally intact elsewhere in Redwall. The moles are booked and busy.
The moles are, they're very important in the.
Yeah. And so the moles are like, hey guys, it's like, now is the time. So their plan here is, also earlier they put vegetable oil over the thing that they're trying to get to bang down the wall, which I thought was fun.
Was this where, have they done the wasps yet?
There's wasps?
The hornet nest.
I missed that.
Oh, I think it's actually, because it's right around the time. Yeah, they drop a hornet's nest in a basket. They get a hornet's nest in a basket, and they throw it on the people with the battering ram, and then they pour the oil on it to keep it from being able to be picked up. Yeah, but then they dump.
But yeah, for the tunnel,
what
they do is they boil water and they pour boiling water down into the tunnel.
Children's book. It's boiling your enemies alive.
Boiled rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And of course, Clooney is not in the tunnel. It's all the other henchmen.
Yeah.
Of course. Which makes sense. You're not going to have your leader down there.
Yep.
Safety, you know.
Rat OSHA would say no. Rosha.
But that's like, it's just such a fun way to like fun, but also horrific. But
No,
like,
there's a lot of that little. Also, when you think about like, yeah, like to go back to the I forget if they're hornets or bees, or I don't think they're bees. Like obviously it would suck to get stung by a bunch of that as like a big tall, big old human. But if you're a rat or a mouse, like that's like super dangerous all of a sudden. So yeah, it's a bigger deal.
After that happens, Clooney still has a mouse captive and is like, hey, I'm gonna kill your family if you don't do this for me. And the guy's like, I guess I'm gonna do it. And so he's like, okay, you're gonna go in and you're gonna open the door for me. And so he does. Redwall accepts this mouse back because he was captive. And at night he does unlock one of the weird little small side doors.
Yep.
And so the rats sneak in and they take over Redwall.
And they kill him. They
kill the one that
the traitor mouse. Yeah.
Traitor mouse. Yes.
Which
actually no, they don't kill him. They just knock him out. I'm positive because I originally wrote down that they killed him.
Oh, I thought they killed him.
Because he comes back to life later. They mention it later.
Or he wakes up. Okay.
Comes back to life. Whatever.
Every morning I come back to life.
I do. I'm a miracle.
You are.
Thank you. That next morning after Redwall has been taken over by the rats, Warbeak finds Matthias in Mossflower as he's traveling back and is like, hey, 1, I'm queen now. 2, Redwall's been taken over. Y'all need to double down. Come on, let's go.
Also, I don't think we said they were kind of friends, but like initially they weren't. They ended up being super tight by the time he fell off the roof with they ended up being really, really close and yeah, exactly. They're besties.
Yeah. So now
mouse and a sparrow.
So now Matthias, who has the shield and the sword of Martin the Warrior, we have the Shrew Union coming in.
Yeah.
We have I don't know if the owl joins. I don't think the owl and cat join. I don't think they do because they're talking in the barn. I think it's just the shrews. But all the sparrows join because Warbeak's on Matthias' side now. And so we have one last big final battle going on to essentially save Redwall.
Yeah.
And like there's battle description stuff, but really the part that's important is the Matthias v. Clooney
in the bell tower.
Yeah. Matthias is yelling, I am, that is, over and over. And Clooney's terrified because Clooney is seeing Martin the Warrior essentially reincarnated via Matthias.
Or seeing his visions come true. Yeah, it's just fun.
His nightmares are coming true. And the bell ends up coming down and smashing Clooney.
Well, I think Martin throws a sword at the bell. And
Matthias.
Oh, yeah. Matthias throws a sword or cuts the bell and it cracks in half over Clooney.
Yeah. And then the Father Abbot proclaims Matthias as champion of the order and then blesses him in Cornflower's union and then dies. On the next page, he's like, we won. Oh, he's dying.
Okay. And it wasn't just like, oh, he's so happy he's dead. He got, he was about to be executed when when the sparrows arrived.
Yeah.
And Clooney hit him with his poison barb. Yeah. So it finally,
the poison barb.
The gun went off.
Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clooney's poison dart. What is it?
Barb.
Barb?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it jumps to a year later. And a year later, we have an entry by John Churchmouse. And it's
of Churchmouse fame.
Of Churchmouse fame.
Cornflower's dad, right?
No.
Isn't it? Isn't it Cornflower Churchmouse?
No.
Oh, huh. Okay.
No, she lives near the church.
Oh, okay.
She's not a church mouse. It's silly. Yeah, they're having a feast to mark 1 year of surviving this horrific battle. And we find out that Matthias and Cornflower have a son who goes by Matamo or Matamo. Matameo.
Because it's
who goes by Matameo, which stands for Matthias, Methuselah, Mortimer. And they live happily ever after.
It's pretty good.
It's a fun book. Do you want to know some fun facts before we go into final thoughts?
Sure. Redwall inspired Wonderwall, actually, by Oasis.
It's funny. Brian Jacques at one point volunteered a lot at a school for the blind where he read to kids different literature, and he talked about how boring all the kids' books was and how it wasn't very descriptive, and so that inspired partially the way he wrote what stuff looked like, smelled like, sound like, because he was inspired by his experiences with that, supposedly. I already mentioned the radio stuff. He was really into radio, which is why he's was really involved in the audiobook recordings. A lot of the characters are inspired by different people in his life.
Yeah.
Specifically, one that popped out to me is that Constance was inspired by his grandma.
That's wow.
Isn't that so sweet?
That's really cute.
Right? We love Constance.
Constance is
Rereading this book, I think I understand why, like, 8, 9, 10-year-old Janessa was obsessed with this book.
Yeah.
I 100% understand. Me, as a 31-year-old, I don't think it's as fantastic as I don't think it's fantastic. I think it's really fun and really good. And for a kid book from the 80s, stands up.
These aren't like aimed at, this is not adult fantasy, but it was still like totally,
it
fun. Held up.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about going back to it, honestly. Like I hadn't read one of these in a long time, and it was like, is this going to be like when I found out Beyblade sucked when I was a kid? But no, I think I don't think I can be objective about it, honestly. Like it's such a strong kids book, and I do think, I had my criticisms earlier of it being slow, and I think certain parts of it were too slow, but also I think it being slow kind of serves its like pastoral, very quaint vibes. It kind of wants you to slow down a little bit and enjoy it. And the other this has to be like one of the only books where there's no like boats, because Brian Jacques he's a big boats guy.
I mean,
he's
from Liverpool. He hung out around the docks a lot.
It's when I think of the Redwall series, I think of shanties, food, cute little creatures doing terrible things to one another, and we got 2 out of those 3.
Yeah.
Then not enough the shanties.
I think come in later with the more boats.
But it's also fun to be like, oh yeah, I remember reading. a lot of these are like, there's obviously a lot of mouse books, and there's a lot of like the otters. There's
a lot of
otter stuff, and it's like you can kind of see the and Triss.
Mm-hmm.
I had a moment when I was like, oh my god, I remember being like, I remember thinking when I was a kid, I was like, Triss would be a great name for a girl, because I loved that book.
Mm-hmm. That one is good.
Yeah.
And
so it's kind of cool to see, like, kind of trace it all back. But once again, I think I can't be unbiased, because this is kind of looking back at all the ways things are connecting for my childhood and the literature I was into when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I really liked going back through it. I think you do need to like approach it like this is a very good children's book / young adult book. It's not really on the same level as something like a fantasy aimed for adults, I would say, but it's still, it's wonderful. It's just nice to kind of chill in.
It was cozy, and like it's a great winter fantasy because it's cozy, it's slow, it's not asking you to think hard about stuff. Stuff is happening. You can pick up on it, and if you don't, not much is going to happen by the time you do pick up on it. And I really enjoyed it. I'm so excited to watch the TV show. So the TV show had 3 seasons. We're watching season 1, which only covers the stuff that happens in Redwall. Season 2 follows Madameo. Season 3 is Martin the Warrior.
Right. I remember reading all 3 of those, but I've read Redwall a few times, obviously, before this, and so that one sticks in my head more than the other ones.
I remember Martin the Warrior pretty well. I don't remember Madameo almost at all.
I think, same. And then Salamandus runs the Badger one. Yeah. And then Pearls of Lutra, whatever it is, was the otter one. I still remember that, like...
Yeah, the cover.
The cover, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was just it hit me at a very, like, impressionable age. Mm-hmm. And, like, side note, like, I've... I got back into Magic the Gathering big time recently because they had a whole set that was cute little animals fighting big things to survive. It was that same, mice with swords and frogs and rats and birds and all that. And
I love this vibe of fantasy.
Yeah.
I think the balance is it's whimsical, but also not too otherworldly, which I think fits the perfect niche for my brand of
It's weirdly
fantasy.
Grounded.
It is very,
Besides the whole, like, is there a god in Redwall?
We don't know, guys.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the chronologically where Redwall, this book, stands in the chronological world. Right? This is book 9 chronologically, timeline wise, of the 22. which is really impressive. So there's 8 books that take place before these events,
Yeah.
which I think is really fun.
Yeah.
I think this is not like a year goal for me, but like I think one day it'd be nice as an adult to have reread at least a good chunk.
Yeah, some like the top of
The
them.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't read as much, so I'm like, oh, I kind of want to, I want to
You want to put your
branch
energy
out and find a
towards-
little more stuff,
yeah.
or get through. And I'm actually, it's been on my table forever in a vacuum. I think that'd be very fun. I would also like to do that. I'm really I'm looking forward to seeing what the show's like. Like I said, I think I've maybe seen one episode when I was a kid at someone else's house. Like it's been a long time.
Yeah. So.
And I don't have and that's the thing. Like I have a connection to the characters in the story from the book, but I don't have any connection to the show. So I'm interested to seeing really how that feels.
Yeah. And if you want to watch along, I did find most of the episodes on YouTube. So if you want to watch those in preparation for our next episode, please do that. Thanks, Isaac, for joining us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I'm glad. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Please remember to rate us 5 stars, 5 stars only. Follow us on Instagram at Read the Book First Podcast. Like, share, etc. We appreciate it all. And remember,
Read the book first.